Aaron?
Directly behind me are the legs of the Crestwood water tower. This is the same water tower that residents were told provided them with clean lake water for years. What they didn't know until yesterday was that up to 20% of their water supply was coming from this old contaminated well. That's that yellow brick building behind me. That's the same well that the EPA declared was full of toxic chemicals linked to cancer. 8 glasses a day, a typical prescription for health, may have had detrimental consequences for residents of Crestwood. And now it looks as if the village leaders knowingly served up the toxic cocktail for over 2 decades to save money.
What's drinking poison?
This woman was diagnosed with a rare type of bladder cancer 2 years after moving to her Crestwood home. She said the water tasted and looked so odd, she actually brought it in, took that sample into Village Hall and asked to have it tested.
He laughed. He goes, are you kidding? Of course it's safe.
But records show it wasn't the pure lake water the village claimed to be pumping, and instead a mix of Lake Michigan water and old well water, laced with dry cleaning chemicals from a plant across the Calsac Creek. 22 years ago, the Illinois environmental officials told the city about the high level of toxic chemical PCE and vinyl chloride in their well water. The village of Crestwood assured state regulators in 1986 they were only using lake water. For over a decade, Patricia Krause has been tracking.
The victims of the Oklahoma City bombing were also remembered today. Hundreds gathered at the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum to commemorate the 1995 attack on the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. During the ceremony, 168 seconds of silence were observed, one for each victim who died. Also, the names of the victims were read by survivors and family members.
This beautiful...
The government fully backs the Olympic bid. Now, the commission will visit the final 2 bid cities, Rio and Madrid, in late April and early May. President Obama wraps up his first trip to Central America. Still to come, the positive steps he thinks took place at the Summit of Americas and the challenges that still lie ahead.
A pirate attack has been avoided. How our cargo ship evaded a gang of Somali pirates.
And finding relief during this recession, tips on how you can save big bucks on vacation getaways.
And I'm Jim Ramsey in the Weather Center. The weather today, not pretty, but the weather this week will certainly be interesting. Rain, snow, and a heat wave. I'll have details and the forecast still ahead. You're watching WGN News at 9. Jackie Black, Bob Jordan, Jim Ramsey.
In politics, Senator Roland Burrows' first fundraiser since his appointment was held today at the offices of Indigo magazine. Burrows was named to the Senate by former Governor Rod Blagojevich last December. Since then, he's incurred over $111,000 in debts. Before today, Burrows paid people's way to
news conferences, and we have to feed people. So based on that, and we have to hire, most of this is to consultants.
And before today, Burrows had raised only $845. He's also expected to have about $500,000 in legal expenses from defending himself in ethics and perjury investigations. Burrows says that he hasn't decided yet whether to seek election next year. And Illinois' problematic government has landed the...
Taking Levitra and call your doctor right away. Ask your doctor if Levitra is right for you.
You're watching Chicago's very own WGN News at 9.
President Barack Obama is back in Washington tonight after the Summit of the Americas. Before leaving Trinidad, the president outlined what some call the Obama Doctrine. Regarding Cuba, the president said Raul Castro should release political prisoners and that he was not involved in espionage.
President Obama does not intend to prosecute Bush administration officials whose policies led to the harsh interrogation of suspected terrorists. Last week, the president authorized the release of memos detailing methods approved
for our enemies in the midst of a war are the outer limits that any American would ever go to in terms of interrogating an al-Qaeda terrorist. That's very valuable information.
One of the reasons the president was willing to let this information out was already the information was out. So if they're saying that you basically have exposed something, it's been written.
Mission persuaded the pirates, or they pursued the pirates for 7 hours. The pursuit ended when warning shots were fired and the NATO forces disarmed and released the pirates.
Want to take a vacation but afraid to spend the money in this recession? Still to come, how you can hunt down great deals for that much-needed getaway.